We are live. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Board of Zoning Appeals March meeting. For those out in TV land that don't know me, I'm Derek Hudson, Planning Director for the City of New Carlisle. And I will go ahead and call the roll for tonight's meeting. We have 3 members, and we will start with Janet.
Present.
Christine.
Present.
And Terry.
Present.
All right. We got us a BZA meeting. We did not have any filings this month, so we have no cases to bring forward to us right now. And I explained a little bit earlier, we do have minutes from our February meeting. Since you didn't get a copy of those, Christine, what we'll do is we'll just wait till next month's meeting and we'll go ahead and approve the February minutes and then the March minutes then.
Okay.
Pretty much, I don't have much for us tonight, so this is going to be pretty quick. I do want to, Janet, just kind of fill you in where we've been, started last month. We are going to do a monthly meeting every month. And that's going to be the second Thursday of every month.
Right.
5:30. Does that 5:30 still, does that work for you this time?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So as of right now, we're planning on Zoom meetings. We're going to kind of follow council's lead on when they come back in person. So when we do go back in person, it will be at the shelter houses like they were previously. But really, I'd like to kind of have an open discussion, kind of pick your brains a little bit on anything that you're seeing around town as far as, we're coming into code rewriting season. So I'm going to be reviewing our zoning code pretty heavily and making lots of changes. So I am open to suggestions on stuff that you may see out there that maybe we need to look at, or something that maybe, previous to me that maybe you guys had, if we're getting a lot of requests for variances for something that's kind of light bulb, hey, maybe we should start looking at changing something.
Mhm.
So me not being involved in any previous things here, have we had one that's come across a lot?
No, actually, in the last couple of years, we haven't even had much at all.
Okay.
That's true.
So I was looking back kind of a little bit what they had changed in the past. I know we did, we had a residential, I think it was R4, maybe R4, R5, where they had the front setbacks, like most are like 25 feet, but people were adding porches at one time. So we allowed a 10-foot extension for a porch or deck only.
Yeah.
So those are things we can look at. We have been pretty busy. We're receiving lots of applications, lots of zoning permits. So far, nothing that we've had to bring in front of us. But I have been getting more and more requests for things. So I mean, it's inevitable. We're going to have one here soon. So
We used to have, most of our previous ones had been about fencing and adding on garages and things, how far could they go? How far could they push things?
Exactly. Yeah. Fences are probably the most common, and then your setbacks, and it's usually a side or a rear setback for some type of structure. We'll be looking heavily at our commercial zoning and our sign codes and stuff. So I would imagine when we start kind of going through that, we could see some signage and stuff coming through.
We haven't done a sign thing in a long time.
Yeah. So I've been reaching out and trying to work with new businesses, existing businesses, because we got quite a few new ones coming in, and I've got some sign permits right now on my desk that are getting ready to be reviewed. And so far, so good. They look good, but this is where we're going to kind of keep an eye and see what the request is. If I start getting more requests, I'm definitely going to give you guys the heads up. Say, we're getting a lot of requests for a certain size. and I definitely want to pick your brains on what you guys think. Of course, all these zoning codes I'll bring, they have to go in front of the planning board for review, for approval, and then they go to council. But I definitely would value your guys' input on that. And speaking of the members, we are still down 2 members. So anybody out there in TV land watching us tonight, we still need two members for Board of Zoning Appeals, and we still are down 1 member for Planning Board. So anybody out there who's interested, please reach out. Reach out to any of us if you know any of us here on the screen with you, or you could just call the city or your councilman, council person, and they'll be able to kind of direct you where you're going. But they are just a monthly meeting, and they're pretty easy, but it gives you an inside look of kind of how behind the scene things, how cities work, and it's very interesting. So I encourage our citizens, if they're slightly interested, just call and talk to me, and we'll get you set up. But do I have anything you guys want to talk about? Or
I'm just thinking about where my planning book is because I haven't seen it in a long time.
Well, you are in luck because I have one for you with your iPad too. So I got you a hard copy and your iPad. So you'll be able to have a fresh updated copy. Now, things I'm gonna be working on definitely this year is zoning maps. I don't know if we've had one updated since probably 2012, and we may or may not have had updates since then. So I'm definitely gonna be getting that updated, and I'll definitely get you guys copies as soon as we get updated stuff. You guys will be the first to get copies of that. But other than that, like I said, I knew this was going to be a pretty quick one just because we didn't have much. But next month, I'm going to try to have some items for us to either review or discuss, regardless if we have a case in front of us or not. Like I said, it's spring, it's coming into the season, so we're going to have lots of businesses wanting to go outside and refreshing stuff. So I have a feeling we'll have some signage and some stuff related to commercial wise, and then of course it's never ending with the fences and the sheds, and then of course the swimming pools too. Have you guys ever done much with the swimming pool variances or anything like that? Private pools that you remember?
No, I remember the one on Lincoln. We did that one. That was a sad one. Well, we've had a couple. One on Madison too.
So
with fences around them.
Yeah. So with as cheap as pools are nowadays, from Walmart, Amazon, places like that, I mean it's very inexpensive for people to get.
Not
pools.
last year.
No, well, maybe not last year. That's true.
Last year you couldn't get one.
Nope. All I've got is the doggy pool, and I let the water out after each use, and then fold it up and put it in the garage.
But it's one of those things where a lot of people don't think about that. They get one of those pools or an inflatable pool, and they don't realize that a permit is required, and there's lots of requirements for a pool as far as fencing and placement and everything. So those are things that we're on the lookout for. I do have 2 code compliance officers that does my property maintenance and zoning compliance. So they're always out, and if they notice a new fence or if they notice a new shed or a swimming pool without a fence, we always contact those residents to try to get them set up where they need to be.
What's going on with that house on, what is it, Lake and Church on the corner? That just always looks like there's nothing there, but I don't know if it's like black mold going up the side of it or old burn marks over near the post office. Over near the post office. Like behind Speedway.
Oh, okay. The little blue house that's directly beside them.
No, I think
no,
she's
no,
talking
no.
about the one where New Carlisle Nurseries used to be.
Is that the big white one on the other side on Main Street?
Yeah, on the southwest corner. And it was my understanding that the people that went in and rehabbed it did work that wasn't up to code, and they can't get a certificate of occupancy, was what I was told.
Right. That's what I've heard, but I didn't know if anything else had happened. Is it just going to sit there and nothing
Right.
ever Yeah, basically.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm trying to picture, so it's behind Speedway, right? So it's either on Church or Main.
Across the street on Church, on the southwest corner of Church and Lake.
Yep.
Oh, is that
It's
one
like
with-
it's
like the stucco and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, so that house we've got a couple of those. It's like, yeah, they did start something and then just stopped. Now, fortunately for us, the outside isn't too bad. We don't necessarily do interior enforcement as far as, making sure things are up to code. That's where our Hart County Building Department comes in play. But as far as outside now, if, we do unfortunately have a lot of vacant, like foreclosed or abandoned properties that outside wise, they stick out like a sore thumb. So this one, what we would do is we would just pretty much monitor the outside condition. Unfortunately for now, and now if it starts going, it doesn't matter how nice a house is, when it goes unattended and vacant like that, it deteriorates pretty fast. So those are things that we're going to look at. We are going to be looking at that I enacted and wrote codes for other communities that I was in, going to an abandoned property registration. So if there is a vacant or abandoned property, whether it be residential or commercial, they would have to register with the city with maintenance contacts, 24-hour contacts in case of emergencies, and they'll be responsible to keep that up to date, and up to code. That's grass mowing, the whole 9 yards. So, that's something that will be coming this year as well. And that's pretty common. A lot of the banks and stuff for these foreclosed vacant homes, they're kind of immune to it now, that they're just second nature. I get calls all the time from these banks asking, do we have one? They have a house that needs registered, and we don't, but it's great contact to make at that point. So yeah, we got a lot going on this year. Like I mentioned, the 2 code and compliance officers, this is our first time that we've had 2, at the same time. So we pretty much got Monday through Friday, full day coverage as far as compliance. And we are moving toward a mayor's court. So that mayor's court will house zoning and exterior property maintenance violations that we cite. So they would be cited into court, not at Clark County. They would actually come here to the city, and we would have a magistrate then. So that's was approved by council. It's in the works now, getting legislation and stuff written. So, of course, we hope we don't get to that point on a zoning or an exterior property maintenance, but it's a tool that we got to have. So, yeah, lots of stuff. I see a busy year, definitely with hopefully COVID spiral going down and more people getting back out. So I'd say it's going to be a busy year.
And then for things like sidewalks, where there are like patches of sidewalk missing, because I don't walk my dog as often as I should, and I'm a Southern girl, so I definitely don't do it in the winter. But just being able to navigate those, if there's some kind of mobility issue, or just, you're walking and then the whole sidewalk is just not there in certain sections.
Yeah,
so I don't know what the
that's
cost
been a
of that
sore
looks
subject
like.
for me as well. I walk a lot, and I used to be able to run when I was younger. And there are some hazardous sidewalks in town. I tumbled a couple times when I was running because I took my eyes off of my feet for a few seconds. And it's been bad for we've lived here 32 years, and it's just progressively gotten worse each year.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's like grant programs out there, because I'm sure some of them it's going to be a cost issue. Like some spots I know it's just like tree roots have lifted up those sidewalk sections, and I can't even imagine what the cost of that would be if somebody had to take care of that themselves. But it is it's a safety thing, and I would hate for a homeowner. Sorry. Sorry, poor
That's
dogs in the house. I would hate for a homeowner to be liable because of something it's just such a cost concern that they can't fix that.
Yeah, and historically, in a lot of communities, and definitely we're no exception here. It's a cost burden. Sidewalks are, I mean, they are the private property's responsibility. So that property owner is responsible for those sidewalks. I know for at least I could speak for this past year. Last year being a tough year for the entire country with COVID and out of work. We did not harp or focus a lot last year on cost.
Right.
So, we really focused on just minimal kind of your everyday stuff that can be taken care of instantly and without major costs. This year, though, with things getting better, at some point we have to start again. So, that's going to include sidewalks. That include, dilapidated or damaged, exterior houses, stuff like that, roof damage, things that don't meet our code. And we've got a lot in our code. So this year will. One thing that I'm doing a little bit different is I want to work with our residents. So we do compliance agreements. So, so say if you got a big ticket item that needs repaired or fixed, we're going to work with you. We understand it's a large cost, but we will work with you. You give me a plan, give me a date, give me, a timeline of when this stuff's going to be fixed, and we'll start there. As long as we see progress and see stuff that someone's trying, especially on these high ticket items, these high dollar items, then that's what we got to do. I am constantly always looking out for special grants and stuff like that for the city. So as of right now, we get very little that's offered out there just because of our community size. We are smaller communities. So that definitely limits what we're eligible for. So definitely keeping my eye out and seeing what's out there. So, but yeah, the sidewalk they're rough. I totally 100% agree with you.
Yeah. Because my current dogs, they won't have an issue with it. But I know, like, my last dog, I had her until she was 15 and a half, but I actually had to stop walking her because she couldn't navigate the sidewalk. She kept falling. So, I know it's a dog, but if my dog had issues, I'm sure people had issues navigating sidewalks.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Yeah. So those are things that I'll be looking into. I'll touch base tomorrow also with our public works director. And just, constantly we'll just be on lookout, look for certain programs that would help us out. But definitely probably a place that we'll start is, kind of whittle them down to the worst of the worst and start there. So maybe if we could get those fixed, then the ones that weren't as bad won't seem as bad. So, but yeah, we got a lot of, for a little community, we got a lot of sidewalks, we got a lot of concrete out there. So it's definitely a huge task, but we got to start somewhere. So.
And is there, I know you had mentioned before about like some kind of community board with information. Would it be you guys that would be putting that information, not just anybody? Because I'm wondering if it might not be a good spot to list people that can do different types of work, because I've noticed a lot of people are trying to find it like through Facebook and they get scammed, lose out on money when they're trying to fix things. And at least if there's a way to find people, because like me, I'm not from the area originally. So I've had to really work hard to find people that not only aren't going to steal my money, but will come to the area. And that's really hard to do.
Yeah, one thing that I'll be working on this spring is getting trying to get some volunteers, like a volunteer group. Maybe I'll solicit some of our churches, maybe even some of the schools, try to get some groups together for people that do need help. Maybe that can't perform this work by themselves, that we could have groups that we could volunteer and go help, whether it's repairing a deck or repairing a door or something like that. But as far as, I think we have here at the city, I'm trying to think if we got out front. I'm trying to remember if we got a little pegboard out there with business cards and stuff. And I know that's not always the best. We can't, as I say, I can't, suggest any companies.
Right.
Of course, if there's volunteer groups though, then that's definitely going to be the way. So, yeah, I would definitely just reach out definitely to at least definitely someone that you're familiar with, or if you've seen someone doing some work. I mean, that would be probably the easiest thing. Word of mouth is always the best. Yeah, so that's something we can work on. I can work on the spring too, putting together, maybe broaden that pegboard kind of idea as like a community board, and do something like that. So, all right, anybody got anything else?
I did watch Monday night's council meeting when you mentioned that your officers were going to spend more time on foot.
Yep.
And as someone who walks and bicycles around town a lot, you see way more on foot than you do in a car.
Yeah, back when I was a code, I've been doing this for about 15 years, and back when I was code enforcement officer, that was my favorite thing. I couldn't wait for spring and summer, and I'd park that car and I, just walk. Because I mean, when you're driving, you're distracted by 18 million things, paying attention to the road, and you got to pull over sometimes. And even pulled over, you still can't see much. So walking, definitely, you get all angles. So yeah, you'll definitely see them out. I'd love to get them little segways or something. You see them right around these. That would be
I don't know. I don't think it's gonna make it through all these sidewalks.
No. So yeah, but also this is going to be them out there as well is definitely going to help us identify sidewalk issues too. So yeah, that's a big one. Sidewalks are a problem.
When is Madison Avenue School coming down?
It can't come down quick enough. It is. I believe I think it was scheduled. I don't know if it was actually scheduled yet, but they'll be going out for bids, I think, within the next 30 days.
Is that going to affect the community garden that's there?
No, well, it won't. I mean, because it's off to the side. Now,
Didn't they move it?
No,
they opened up another section,
They
but
moved it
it's
down
still
to
open.
the other end of town. Yeah.
So they got two locations. They still have the original one there behind Madison School, and then the larger one. So the only thing that may affect would be the entrance. If that entrance goes away. Now, nothing's set in stone or decided 100% on what's going to happen to that site. But obviously, if that site was sold, then yeah, they would lose their access to that site at least. You still have was it the Scott or what's
Clay?
That? Clay, yeah, the Clay side entrance, which is a little bit further away than that entrance, but that would probably be the only effect that it would have on that.
Got it.
So, well, if everyone is good and doesn't have anything else, we'll go ahead. We went longer than I thought we would, so yay! So, all right, our first BZA meeting, Zoom meeting completed. All right. So, if I could get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second.
All right, I'm gonna call the roll and we'll call it a night. We have Miss Janet.
Yes.
Miss Walker.
Yes.
And Miss Hoffman.
Yes.
All right, meeting adjourned, and I will see you guys on the flip side.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good evening.
Good night, everyone.
Night.